Today, we are talking all things nutrition. Vicky Godfrey is, and I must read this out because it's really interesting what Vicky does. Vicky is a registered nutritional therapist and the co-founder of Vicky Godfrey, I beg your pardon, is a registered nutritional therapist and the co-founder of DNApal. This is a personalized health for life, providing bespoke nutritional and lifestyle guidance by harnessing an individual's genetics to provide a roadmap to support their unique health journey. And Vicky joins me now. Vicky, thank you so much. It's lovely to have a nutritionist because there is a lot of weird information out there, which brings us right to our first headline. Now, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. Of course, people were tuning into that every night, and people have been dying to find out why Olivia Attwood she went into the jungle and whoop, she was whisked away. Well, apparently, in an exclusive with the Mail on Sunday, Olivia said they did a routine blood test which showed that she was dangerously anemic. It also flagged up worryingly low sodium and potassium levels, prompting ITV staff to immediately take her to A&E. Now, the test results all came as a complete shock to her, the reality TV star, who said that she was feeling absolutely fine, which begs the question, Vicky. You obviously can't tell if you have very low levels of iron and what have you. So just tell us nutritionally what causes or what could cause dangerously low iron and have therefore anemia and low sodium and potassium levels.
There are lots of reasons why, and it fundamentally maybe could come down to her diet. If she's not eating enough red meat sources or spinach. Remember Popeye, who ate the spinach? He was quite strong. We see it a lot in vegans and vegetarians that aren't getting enough from meat sources and especially red meat, which is high in iron, or you can cook in an iron skillet, like an iron pot on your oven, which will, and then there's iron waters and things. But generally from us, it can be diet. It can sometimes genetically, because B12 is also part of how the iron works. So nothing, our whole bodies work in synergy together. So it's never sort of one thing. We have a gene called the FUT2 gene, which can also push the body towards anemia if you don't have the intrinsic factor, which means you can't absorb B12 so well, and then therefore can also have an impact on your iron. So it could be quite a few reasons, really. Also, as well, when you are,
I was going to say, I have anemia, and I forgot about it as well. I have anemia, and I don't eat meat. I don't eat red meat. I do eat a lot of green leafy vegetables, and there is a hereditary. I mean, my mother had sickle cell trait. So not sickle cell itself, but sickle cell trait. So I've got low anemia. But and what's interesting, she said she doesn't know. I think you can be the side effects of feeling tired, but you can get used to, you're normal. You think it's normal, don't you?
Yeah, you do see that generally in health until people start to get better. Sometimes they didn't realise how bad they felt and they were just going along, like you say, feeling their normal, but it's not our normal of optimised health normal, and they're just like, oh, just feel a bit tired today. And on you carry, because the demands on us in this day and age are a lot, now with WhatsApp, email, we never get to switch off properly, so we keep going, don't we? Especially as mothers. I'm a mother,
yes.
You've got to keep going.
So what can you do if you are vegetarian or vegan? Are you doomed to be possibly low in iron, or are there ways apart from spinach to boost your iron? I take a supplement now, so that seems the only way for me.
There are things as well where things are blockers, and I don't think this is quite commonly known. So vitamin C helps you to absorb more iron, which is why Spartone, the iron water, has vitamin C in it. So it helps with absorption. So you might need some more vitamin C in your diet. Cups of tea have a thing called tannins in them. Tannins are actually a blocker to iron, and so is dairy. So again, timing when you have certain foods can also either block it or help with the absorption. And a lot of people don't know that. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there taking iron supplements with a cup of tea, with some milk and dairy in it. And, you know, the synergy isn't working. Ooh. Also as well, when I was studying, I found this really interesting thing about eggs and spinach. So a lot of sandwiches have eggs and spinach. So you think, oh, I'm being healthy with my spinach. Eggs could also be a blocker to the absorbing of the iron from the spinach, but you will get the B9 folate from the spinach. So it's still worth eating. But, you know, when we come to sort of biochemistry of how things work, there's a lot of synergy that goes on. So, you know, and also, you mentioned, she's low in potassium and sodium. Again, could that be dietary where we're like this seesaw, this biochemistry seesaw, and too much of one thing will push something else down and vice versa, you know? So we're in these constant state of fluctuation. So a good varied diet is wonderful for everybody, you know, and not eating the same thing every day.
Yeah, lots of colour and what have you in it. Now, next in the news, and this doesn't surprise you at all, TikTok is promoting toxic diet cultures to teens and young people across the world. This is according to scientists. They've issued a warning after analysing thousands of the most popular videos, viewed more than 1 billion times, with fitness or food-related hashtag. And the study found that the advice in the videos was of poor quality, was not backed up by evidence, and often promoted unhealthy relationships with food. That is very worrying, since so many young people do get their information from social media, isn't it? Yes.
I don't know what we could do about that, apart from having a look at the person that's putting the information out. Are they a doctor? Are they a registered nutritionist? And not just a nutritionist that did a 6-week course? Some do a 6-week course and then say that they're a nutritionist, but you know, I'm registered with BANT, the British Association of Nutritional Therapists. So there are certain qualifications and certain letters that we have to have after our name when we're of a certain standard, you know. So look out for those. Because like I say, people do these short courses or they just read stuff on the internet themselves and then make a video.
Oh, what are some of the things, just off the top of your head, what are some of the things that you read that I remember, was it the Kardashians promoting a sort of slimming tea and what have you? There are some pretty wild claims made out there when it comes to nutrition, aren't there? And I don't think we study it enough in school to actually, for a lot of people to say, hang on, that doesn't sound right.
Yes, I think we should all be educated in school, and that was one of the things that I really noticed when I was studying. I was like, why didn't we learn this in school? And I've completely overhauled my diet, you know, as you do, the more you learn. I think the weight loss teas, where they promise so much, like you said, they promise too much. And some of the ingredients you look through and you know, and I can see the pathways that those ingredients are trying to work on. But then sometimes it's also the added dangerous fillers and binders and things like that they put into some of these supplements that really aren't going to do your body so much good. And price point, if it's really, really cheap, generally the ingredients are going to be bad chemicals made in a lab. So there is a price point of, you know, having low quality ingredients that, you know, they haven't spent much money on, and you're taking it under the guise of a weight loss tea. So I think, weight loss teas.
I was going to say, if it's too good to be true, then it probably is. Let's talk about, and before we come to the next headline, I just wanted to throw in here about probiotics. Now, I have recently rediscovered probiotics. I can't tolerate dairy products, but I found these probiotic gummies and even probiotic fizzy drinks as a way to getting probiotics. Just explain to us why people might need probiotics, what they do, and how and why one should include them in one's diet.
So we have all this wonderful good bacteria within our tummies, and that's to fight infections, and they all play different roles. We now know without the right bacteria, you can't lose weight. Without the right bacteria, you might suffer depression, and so much more that we know about. And it's also, 80% of our immune system is within our tummies. So these good bacteria really do a job of keeping us healthy. One course of antibiotics can really wipe out the good and the bad. And so doing a good course of 6 months of probiotics after, so 2 different brands, say one brand for 3 months, another brand for another 3 months. So you're really widening the variation of good bacteria going back into your gut is really, really important. And, for a whole host of things like I just listed.
Oh, wow. So, I mean,
yeah.
But do you have to, can you include it in food as well? What sort of foods would be strong when it comes to probiotics?
Sauerkraut has been tested as one of the biggest, widest ranges of bacteria. We also have things like kefir, kombucha, but they're quite, the kefir isn't, but the kombucha is quite sweet and sugary, so it comes with a certain taste. And if you've got other things going on like candida or yeast infections, you don't want to be putting too much sugary things in. Sauerkraut, kefir, kombucha, I'm just trying to think of all the others. I can't think of them now.
That's why I'm using the gummies. Also, yeah, that's why I'm using these little gummy things.
My sister is using the gummies on my niece at the moment. We're having great success with refixing all of her anxiety and gut health issues that she's having at the moment. So, the gummies can work. But again, it's about having that reputable brand, not just buying any old brand off of the internet. And doing research and really reading the ingredients. And if you don't understand a name and you put that in Google and then it comes up with, generally any word that you can't pronounce isn't going to be very good for you.
Right, exactly. No, I did exactly that because I don't have meat products, so I wanted ones that didn't have gelatin in, so I had to do exactly that.
Yeah.
Let's come to donuts, cereal, and pizza should be redefined as drugs, scientists say, as highly processed foods are just as addictive and harmful as cigarettes. It's an interesting one. Are those highly processed foods? Can you literally become addicted to eating them?
Yes. So what the science says in those highly addictive foods, they've got high levels of fat, high levels of salt and high levels of sugar. And now what we know about sugar, we know sugar is highly addictive. If they said to us on the course that if the Food Association found sugar now, it would be a banned substance because we know so much about what sugar does to the body in terms of addiction. The high fats also can get in the way of supporting dopamine to the brain, which is your happy hormone. So it makes you feel good. So then you want to go back and you want to eat more. So in those junk foods, they've really studied the combinations that kind of go up to the brain, creating dopamine to then make people crave it more. And it is a combination of fat, sugar, high salt, things like that. So in some cases, MSG, which we now know isn't a great ingredient, and can be quite addictive to the body, and then other preservatives and other E numbers that they've studied. I don't want to get into any lawsuits, but there's these famous crisps that are quite cheesy and kind of Mexican-y. I won't say the brand name.
Yeah.
And they really have been highly addictive. Sometimes you can eat a whole big bag and you're like, where did that bag go? And that's because a lot of those ingredients got in are, quite addictive.
Yeah. If you stop, like with any addiction, if you would suddenly changed your diet, I know, for instance, if you stop drinking a lot of coffee, you get headaches. Would you feel it if you suddenly said, tomorrow, right, I'm throwing everything out and changed your diet? Would you feel it at all?
Yes, you would. You'd see weight loss within a few days. You'd see a pound or two shift. The wonderful thing as well, what I love when I work with people after about a month of working with me or 6 weeks, they come back and they say, I don't crave those bad foods. My taste buds have completely changed. I can taste all the chemicals in the food now. And I just want to eat wholesome foods cooked from scratch, from farm to plate. It's that kind of thing. The more it doesn't look like its original form, the more it's been highly processed and played around with. And I call it a chemical, I'm on telly, so I can't say the word I normally say. SHIT, a chemical storm. Hope we didn't have to bleep me out there.
A chemical poo emoji. Yeah. No, it's true. It's true, isn't it? If you cook from scratch, you know, I'm really into cooking from scratch. But when you do have something, even if I find in a restaurant, it tastes more salty or fatty. Yes. And I think the opposite is true. When you cook from scratch a lot more, you recognize all of those chemicals, those flavors. I always say the colors in food that the good Lord never intended. Suddenly you can taste them, whereas maybe you never did before.
You don't, because if you're eating all that type of food, those chemicals become normal to your taste buds. So even my children, they can really taste it. They had something the other day and they went, "Mummy, that tastes really strange. What's in it?" And we went through the ingredients and they were like, "Mummy, that just doesn't taste right." And it, you know, it wasn't a home cooked meal at that point that tried. I mean, we do 99% of the time we were out and about, but they wouldn't eat it. So, because they could taste it. So you really can change the taste of your taste buds.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is, just as you can become addicted to bad food, you can become healthily addicted to good foods. Thank you so much, Vicky. We've got to apologise for if anybody found our use of the naughty word, awful. We do apologise. No, it was said in the best ways, but if you found that offensive, I do apologise. Vicky, fantastic advice. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's always interesting to talk about nutrition because, as you said before, apart from the internet, not a lot of people are learning about this stuff in school. We kind of stumble across it. So whenever we get the chance to get our hands on a properly qualified expert, before you get on Google, a properly qualified expert, we very much embrace it. Thank you so much. Vicky Godfrey there, talking about nutrition from a properly qualified point of view.